outfit today. It's pretty warm outside, so I actually don't need to wear a coat. I'm wearing this sweater that I thrifted when we were in West Virginia, just from a Goodwill. Little zip up, red and black plaid. Avery's Eckhouse Lotta pants, belted with a belt he made, a thermal, and my Docs.
Oh, that's a good shot.
You can open this present.
Our police camera!
Yeah, right. Oh, watch out, you're losing something. Woo, 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 woo! Open it, open it.
It says it's an autographed copy.
Oh, it says it? That sucks. I didn't notice that. That's so funny. Maybe we can take.
Good morning, you guys. I thought that I should vlog today. My lips are so dry and chapped. Avery and I have been dealing with the flu, I believe. Not me as much as him, but I definitely have felt it a bit. I'm hoping my immune system is just strong enough to deal with it. Sorry if I am looking around paranoid. I'm in my kitchen. I mentioned in one of my last videos that we are dealing with a mice issue. It seems to be getting worse. Dealing with our super, figuring out like exterminator things and whatnot. I used to not want to like hurt or kill them because of ethical issues, but it's just gotten out of hand, and I have learned a lot about how quickly they reproduce and the diseases they carry, and I just can't have them crawling on my stove every night. It's disgusting. So I'm making toast. I have some errands to run today, and honestly just a lot of work to do. It's Monday, and I have to do some catching up. Here's my breakfast. A lot of fruit and protein and sugar. Excuse my voice, by the way. I have whole wheat sourdough with peanut butter, banana, and hemp seeds, grapes, and a big glass of orange juice.
I think Instagram isn't filling now because I think it's honestly too powerful, it's too ubiquitous, and it needs a challenger now.
Good morning, you guys. I started vlogging a couple days ago, and I know I filmed some clips earlier on in the day, but I just haven't felt well, and I've been trying to take it easy, and I feel like my voice sounds funny, and I don't want to talk too much because of my sickness. I actually haven't been that sick in comparison to Avery. He's been very sick, but I'm also on my period, and I'm just trying to take it easy. But today I have a lot to do because I've been putting it off for the past few days. So today is a catch-up day. I have my coffee. I was actually reading that you're not supposed to have coffee when you're on your period because you're lacking iron, and this just doesn't help that at all. We've had some apartment and office updates. Sorry, there is a truck outside. I have been intensely hunting on eBay and Craigslist for more furniture for our apartment. As I've spoke about before, we're trying to do things pretty slowly, but I believe we have some dining chairs locked down via eBay. They're my Van der Rohe MR chairs. They're so beautiful, and I can't wait to have those in our apartment. We had to negotiate with someone for a long time to get these chairs, but we're getting them for a great price. And we don't have to buy all 10 that are available. They were bought directly from Knoll in the 90s, and basically we've just sat in a conference room for a while and not really been used, so they're in great condition. So we're getting 4 of those in black for our dining table, so I stopped having to move our other chair over here to sit to work. And then for our office, I pretty much have us a standing desk, a really long white standing desk, so it adjusts. You can also still sit at it, but you can stand at it or have it at whatever height you want, which is really nice. I think it's 63 inches long, and we're picking that up from someone in Greenpoint off Craigslist, and I got that for $170, and it's in pretty much like new condition. That's great because those can get to be pretty pricey. And then I'm also working on getting office chairs, and there's a seller on eBay that has them for a lot less than what I normally see them at, especially on like First Dibs, even at local stores in the city, which New York City prices for furniture can be a lot more, but this guy has them listed on eBay for $80 each, but he has them on an auction and nobody is purchasing them. He's a funky eBay seller. I want to say it's like a really old person from the way that we've interacted so far. I was trying to just make him an offer to sell me both of them before the auction ends because there aren't any bids on them, but he's just not cracking, so I'm gonna have to possibly go into a bidding war over those chairs. But they are these white Danish office chairs, a little beat up, but gives them lots of character. And then we also ordered these massive shelving units for our office. We're still on the hunt for some clothing racks. We're looking to purchase some that we can take to pop-up stores in the future so we don't have to rent nicer ones for storefronts. But that is also proving to be difficult with our somewhat small office space. So I think I need to stop rambling and catching up with you guys and get to work now. Wow, look how much better the lighting is when I hold it this way. Maybe I should have done that the whole time. I just got this Hawkins New York vase in the mail, and how it's a bit warm toned instead of just being clear. I try to have all my apartment stuff linked down below when I can, and I'm also working on doing a home post on my blog because I've just been getting so many like DMs about things like my plates and bowls and other things, which I do try to have linked down below, just on sizing and where I shop for things and all of that. So that'll be coming soon. Hi you guys, I hope you're all doing well. I have just woken up and I thought that now would be the perfect time to chat with you guys. I've been meaning to film a video mainly for my personal purposes, just talking about 2019 goals and reflecting on 2018 a bit. I usually do one of these like every year, and I think it's useful to have on hand, and I personally like watching these from other people. Be careful. Are you trying to film right now? It's okay if you are.
No, I'm not trying to. Wow, lighting's not that bad.
Yeah, it's kind of cute.
Do your thing.
Okay. I just realized they are actually propped up on my notebook that has all my notes in it somehow. So I will have to get that. I think I'm just gonna include this with some other clips that I have left over from last year and the beginning of this year, because I don't think it needs to be a video in itself, but I thought it'd be something worth mentioning, and I would love to hear what your goals are for the new year if they aren't too personal to you. I know a lot of these are personal and I won't be sharing, but there's also some to share. But as for my reflection, 2018 was an interesting year for sure. So much changed and then was kind of brought back to where it started, but in like a totally different way. So I would say in 2018 I devoted the majority of my time, especially in the beginning of the year, to my neighbor's brand, STAATSBALLETT. We were handling fulfillment ourselves, and it was pretty much just me that was doing it at the time because Avery and I were still in a long distance relationship, and he wasn't living in New York where all of our inventory was, although he was visiting quite often. So I was in charge of shipping, and that was just kind of like my day in, day out, doing that in customer service, and also preparing for our first pop-up store, which was really, really fun, and I can't wait to do another one. I will talk a bit about that more later. But yeah, I did devote the majority of my time to like nurturing that business, and I still am very much so. We're about to release another collection soon. At times it was definitely a bit unhealthy, but it's like our baby and I obviously want it to grow and do really well. I wrote this down, and it's something that I wasn't even thinking about originally, because it seems like so long ago, or almost like something I never even did. and 2018 was my first year not in school in a very, very long time, and that is just wild. That it's only been a year that I've been out of school, and also that it's been a year. So at the end of 2017, I had already completed my associate's degree from FIT, and I was on track to graduate early for my bachelor's degree. If I had stayed in school, I would have it by now if I continued taking the maximum hours allowed, which I was doing in 2017 while we were releasing and working on STAATSBALLETT, and it was like the worst thing I possibly could have done for my health. I was very, very mentally and physically drained at the end of 2017, and in 2018 I definitely couldn't have devoted my time to school, and I don't regret ending my time at FIT whatsoever. So I'm glad to still feel confident in my decision. And with that being said, I feel like I really in 2018 immersed myself in different forms of education, some that I was already kind of into while I was in school, but I just didn't have time to, like a lot of reading, listening to podcasts, and just learning about people that I look up to as teachers in a different way than like a college professor. Not being in school, I found that I had a lot more time to learn about things that were more of interest and more of use to me, more practical, more up-to-date, and that's been really great. I've also had time to read for fun, which is crazy. I feel like I've been blowing through a few books a month, which is something that I haven't done since I was in like middle school, which is awesome. I moved out of my first New York City apartment where there were tons and tons of problems, and I honestly didn't know if I was moving back to New York City. I sold everything. Avery and I traveled for a few months, primarily in Europe, and we were searching for a new factory for our brand, and we were highly considering moving out of the States for a while, but then somehow we ended up moving our factory to LA, even considering moving to LA for a while, and now we are back in New York City in another apartment which has its own problems, but this apartment is just a dream in comparison to my last one. So that's been really nice. I also wrote in here about our brand that I feel like this year I absorbed a plethora of knowledge, but I still feel like a total idiot when it comes to running our business, just because there's so many new things to learn every day, and it's probably always going to be this way because when you're your own boss and when you're trying things out for yourself and when you like do everything on the internet and things are rapidly changing, there's not really like a guidebook. And thankful for Google. You know, something that's sort of personal and business related that I guess is worth sharing, because it's something that I feel really proud of myself for being able to manage, and that's that almost all of my clients were repeat clients this year. A lot of the new clients that I brought in last year now, I guess, have came back to me to work again and again, which is really nice because I feel like I put a lot of time into managing client relationships when it comes to working with people primarily on Instagram now rather than YouTube, but it goes to show that me putting a lot of effort into those relationships pays off, and it's always so much easier to work with someone the second and third time around than it is the first time, because you know exactly how they work. Oh my gosh, another thing that I can't believe was just last year was that I started eating a plant-based diet in a strict sense. Before, I was eating vegan or at least vegetarian most of the time, but I finally made the switch this year and I haven't eaten any animal products in almost a year now, which is crazy. And I feel so good about it. I also got so much more into cooking this year. I think it was kind of about getting out of my apartment where I had a very small kitchen with pretty much no counter space, because in that situation cooking, you know, it's not that fun to experiment, but now I find that that's just like such a great stress reliever for me, and introducing a new diet into my life, which I don't even really want to call a diet, I guess it's more of a lifestyle, just encouraged me to try so many new things in the kitchen, which is Lovely. On some personal notes, I wrote that I learned more about myself, dealt with physical insecurities more than ever, which is interesting because I felt like as I got older, I would feel, you know, more comfortable in my outward appearance. And I never really dealt with physical insecurities too much when I was younger. And just in like the past year or two, I feel like I've just been so like bombarded with them. And that's something that I'm trying to work on. Also, battled depression as usual. I never really talk about that on here or really with anyone except for Avery. But I know a lot of you guys can like tell, or you know, if you deal with similar things. And I've just accepted that it's pretty much a lifelong battle, and I just learn how to cope better and acknowledge that sometimes they're going to be worse than others, especially in the winter. We wrote that our business in general just far surpassed any expectations that I could ever have in terms of like money volume, whether it is how much money needs to be invested and how much money we can actually take in revenue. It's just absurd. But I also wrote that this year we also began stressfully investing more personal funds to scale our business. In the past, we have operated on a pre-order basis for a lot of the more expensive styles. There's obviously a lot less risk that way. You still have to invest money into sample making and all kinds of other things that can't really be operated on a pre-order basis. We are doing away with that, and I am so happy to say that. That is sort of my 2018 reflection in a nutshell. As for 2019 goals, a lot of these are like financially related and work related, so I feel like you guys probably don't care that much about it, and I don't even know if I feel comfortable sharing. I have them separated into like my business on YouTube and social media, and then for STAATSBALLETT's business, and then my personal goals as well. By the end of the year, I want a certain amount of money in my savings account. I want to work with a certain amount of brands a month, do a certain amount of like videos and Instagram posts a month. Boring, right? And a certain amount of blog posts a month, which I am kind of on track to doing right now. I've been sick at the beginning of the year, which has really been throwing me off a bit, but I trust that I can make these things work. For STAATSBALLETT, I have a revenue goal for 2019 and goals regarding our accounting. I also have a list of people that I want to pursue being stocked in different collection releases that we want to have this year. I wrote that I want to have a pleasurable postal experience, which that's not very measurable, but you know, it's just a good thought to have. I want to invest more time and money into a pop-up store or stores this year. Last year, our pop-up store went really well, much better than expected, and we threw it together quite quickly, especially since Avery was still in school and not living in New York, and we were planning for it to be in New York. So it's kind of me doing a lot of the more hands-on things, and this time around we have some more help and we have some more money, so I'm hoping to do a better pop-up store this time around. For my personal goals, I wrote that I really want to switch to online banking. I hear so much about how online banking, especially for savings accounts, is so much more useful than banking at traditional institutions in terms of interest rates, so I want to get on that. Bit of a boring one that I feel like everyone says. I want to exercise at least 3 times a week. I'm so bad about like actually making the time for myself to take a yoga class or take a bar class or do Pilates. And I feel like living in New York City, I walk a lot, so I'm pretty mobile, but actually taking studio classes I find is super useful to me. I've been using ClassPass and going once or twice a week in the past month, but I would really like to be more consistent with my exercises. Also, if you guys want, I think you get your first month free of ClassPass if you're interested, and if ClassPass is a thing in your city, I will have a link with my referral code down below. I wrote that I want to continue eating more whole foods, not like Whole Foods like the grocery store, just whole foods. I've been trying to not eliminate, but kind of dial back on eating a lot of the meat and cheese alternatives in my life, which I feel like when I first went vegan, I loved those. But I find that I feel so much healthier if instead of eating like fake chicken, I'm just eating like tofu cooked really well, or tempeh, and obviously lots of fruits and vegetables. I'm trying to keep that up. I wrote that I want to make my apartment feel more like home. We've been here for about 2 months, and I feel like even since I wrote this down, we've been taking a lot of steps to do so, whether it's like getting bins and propping our bed up off the ground. Our mattress was on the ground for a while, and I really liked the look of it, but we only have one closet for Avery and I, and it's quite small, which we don't have a lot of things, so it's not the biggest deal. And we don't have a dresser right now. We started from scratch with most of our furniture, and I don't know if that's something that we're planning on purchasing, but we got bins to store like our underwear and socks and t-shirts under our bed. They're quite nice actually. I got them from the Container Store. And we just started furnishing our office. We picked up a standing desk on Craigslist yesterday, and we also built some new shelving units for our inventory. We still need to purchase some racks. We won some eBay auctions yesterday for some Danish office chairs. That's underway. Sorry if the camera just moved. It shut off for a second. Also little things like fixing our shower. At first, our shower knob, I'm sure you guys have dealt with it at some point in your life, it kind of got stuck in the middle, so the water wouldn't get hot. It was just like lukewarm, and that's like my worst nightmare. I was so annoyed to take showers, especially at night when it's cold in the winter. But we just figured out how to fix that ourselves with an Allen wrench, and we did it, and now my showers are great. So just taking the steps to do little things like that. Then just a bunch of random personal goals, and then I also wrote that I want to take a ceramics class / classes. That's something that I've really been wanting to learn how to do for a while, and I just don't go take the class, you know, like a million other things in life. But I would really like to do that this year. It's just that classes are kind of expensive and time consuming. If anyone has any recommendations for those classes in the city, I would love to hear from you. I have my travel list for 2019, and here are the places that I'm hoping to go. Probably won't knock them all off just because it looks like it's going to be a really busy year, but hopefully can do at least a couple. Really am pretty adamant that I'm going to Japan this year. Avery and I both. We obviously want to go to Tokyo, but we also want to go a bunch of other different places, so I'm hoping that can be a 2 or 3 week long trip.